other style is big pain to deal with. I hate them a lot. The other style is this really obnoxious style where you can see it's like even hard to figure out how that works. Like you've got this thing which looks like an Allen wrench, but if you actually try to turn that, you'll break the whole system. And you've got this, the pad mount doesn't even have threads on it. Like what's going on with that? No, it doesn't make sense. What you actually have to adjust is this nut right here. You have to loosen this nut. Then once you loosen this nut, it releases this whole compression, and so the pad can go up and down and twist, left and right. It can also go in and out. So you no longer can just squeeze it against the rim to get it where you want it, because if you do that, it's just going to push it in, which you don't want it that way. So you have to like look at it and unscrew that and like put it where you want it, and then like try to hold it and then tighten it, and it never works right how you want it. So try to avoid this style of brake. You can get caliper brakes that accept this kind of brake pad. See if you have any. I won't look right down. And if you can find that, that is far superior. And yeah, here we go. It just has this little flap of metal bent out. So when you're buying a bike, you see that other kind be like, I don't want to mess with that. You get a bike that has this kind. It's a lot easier. There's also a couple of different styles of pads. I mean, there's like this style and the style that's on the annoying kind that I talked about is the same kind of pad. Just different mounting systems. There is also a style of brake that is called cartridge style. And basically what that means is you've got this stuff, and then you've got a mount here, which is going to be metal, and then the pad itself is a cartridge. And there's a little cotter pin. You pull the cotter pin out, and you can slide the old pad out, and you take new pads, new cartridges, and slide them in, and put the cotter pin in, you're done. Really easy. You don't have to mess with trying to get the pads right on the rim. You don't have to mess with anything because they're already right on the rim, and you don't have to mess with that. You just take the pad out, put the new one in. Done. Really easy. So that's the kinds that he has on his bike, and they sold him these because it's also got the metal and the mount and the nuts and the washers and all that stuff. Cartridges themselves, I think you can get a pair of cartridges for like $3.
So it's going to save you a lot of money.
In the long run. And it's also easier. It's really easy to replace cartridges. Sometimes you run into some funny things going on with the cotter pin, like goes in the wrong place. But the trick to that is just making sure that the cartridge is pushed all the way back in there. And I mean like really all the way back in there. So that's brakes. Any questions about anything that I talked about? I think that's pretty much.
Are those the kind of brakes that you prefer? Would you say they're V brakes or?
These are V brakes, and these are very easy to work with. I don't own any bikes that have V brakes. My road bike has the U brakes, the road style, and that one has road style. And my Cannondale has cantilever brakes.
What's
But
the
it has-
advantage of the U style? Is it just
Easy to work on, yes. They're really easy to work on. They're really easy to see what's going on. The spring is accessible. The pads, I mean, generally V brakes. I've never seen a V brake that doesn't have the style of pad that has the threads on the pad mount itself. I've never seen them that don't have that. Cantilever brakes, you'll find, have the other kind that just slide in, and you have to like mess with them for 20 minutes to get them right. So I like them both. Cantilever brakes are really, really powerful. really powerful. Disc brakes obviously are going to be the most powerful. These are generally on mountain bikes because they very rarely break, and if they do, you can generally always fix them.
How critical is it to get those brake pads in the right direction? Like I see little arrows on there.
It's important. Yeah, I guess I wasn't paying attention to that. So, you can see those arrows. I guess the arrows point forward. I don't know if there's really a general rule, as long as they're both the same. These don't, I don't have them the same. I think arrows point forward. It usually says though.
Yeah, mine last week said front. On the
Yeah.
top of each.
Yeah.
Would that make that big of a difference?
Here we go. Yeah, it would actually. It'll affect how it wears, and it'll also affect how it breaks. Not much, but it would a little bit.
Over time, probably.
Over time, yeah, over time, over the life of the pad, it probably affect something. How it wears and how it breaks. But I mean, I can't come up with any reason off the top of my head why that would cause a really big problem, as long as they're both the same. But it will say usually, yeah, I totally just like forgot to look at that, but it will say, you can see there's a little rim and an arrow. It doesn't say direction, it just says rim, but I'm assuming that that's the direction it'll be spinning. So, and that makes sense. So it'll be going against the arrows.
Into the point.
Into the point, yeah. You can see it says.
So that would mean those are backwards.
Yeah, so these would be backwards, and that one would be right. So I'll change that. But yeah, that's all I've got for today. Next week is wheels.